and welcome to my channel. I just finished watching the third episode of HYBE's survival show, Are You Next? Honestly, this is probably the worst survival show I have ever watched in terms of K-pop group creation because it's genuinely bad. To start it all off, the show is just so boring and very uninteresting. The backstage of the missions show nothing, literally nothing, but the struggle in picking parts. And honestly, I'm fed up with it. It's not so hard to pick your parts. If you want a part, you raise your hand and you say, I want this part. You sing the part, or you dance, or you perform the part, and let the team discuss and judge and vote who gets the part. If you didn't get the part, I'm sorry, but you're just not as good as the other person. And you accept it because you want the good and the well of your group. And that's it. It's done. It's not something that the show should be exploiting for 2 episodes. Every single mission, every single group, I just see people being unhappy with their parts, discussing about parts, talking about parts. Stop it. I'm over it already. I'd love to see something else, anything else, like character developments or even just fun activities that they're doing, playing with each other, anything else but showing people being sad and depressed over picking parts, which in itself is fine. It's very okay for you to be sad to not get the part you want, but every single group, every single time someone is sad about the part they pick and they need to focus on that is just terrible. And then because of that, we don't really get to see much of their personality or any girl's personality. And it makes it very hard for me to get attached to them in any way because we don't really know who they are as people. We just know that they get sad when they don't get the part that they want. Literally, it's just them going through the motions of competition without any depth. And not only in their personalities itself, but I feel like everything, even friendships, are so surface level. What they show to us just seems awkward and uninteresting. We don't see many friendships being formed, and the good interactions between the contestants are almost inexistent. Apart that, from the very few ones we see, they seem very fabricated and not that genuine. It's just them hyping each other up when someone does a killing point in the performance, or being happy that they were chosen for the group, which you kind of need to react that way. But apart from that, we don't see anything else from them because the show is relying so much on showing them upset with their own teams or upset with their performances, which kind of creates this awkward atmosphere between them, which I don't know if actually exists or not, but that is what's being shown to me and passed to me as the audience, which makes it very hard for me to be engaged. I want to see more real connections being formed between the contestants, more of them willing to improve together as a group, and not just those surface level interactions which they say, oh, we are so confident as a group that we will win. I need more than that. I need to be emotionally attached to you. With that being said, I noticed that we don't have any duos or trios to cheer for. And having a duo in a survival show is a must. It is one of the best ways to keep the audience hooked, involved, and emotionally invested in the team's fate by having them in pairs or in groups. But alas, we are very lacking in that department. The closest we have to a pairing, I'd say, is Jimin and Yuna, whose friendly rivalry has been very showcased throughout the show, but mostly through confessionals of them acknowledging each other's skills and saying they are competing with each other. But that's it to it. The comments made on the confessionals, the fact that we are in our 3rd episode. So I have seen 3 hours and a half of girls competing with each other. And I have only seen one pairing whose interactions are based on confessionals of them admitting that Yuna is a very good dancer, Jimin is a very good dancer, and so on, is quite disappointing. We have seen the girls performing in 3 different groups almost, and there is one duo who is not even that much of a duo. We have not seen interactions between them 2 ever almost. So I'm kind of disappointed with that. And seeing how in Boys Planet we had so many friendships going on, so much stuff going on, here I'm missing this kind of connection and bond between them, which could exist, but the show is just not showing to us. So I do think we need more teams to cheer for and more personalities to follow. Because that's what makes survival shows so entertaining. Having synergy, shared goals, and overcoming challenges together. That is how we know who will be a good fit for a group and who won't. And then you might argue that they want you to vote for talent, not for personalities. And that's why the show and the editing is gatekeeping this content from us. Because they want you to pick someone based on their performances and what they're showing through their skills. To which I have a couple of points. First of all, it's very important to recognize that an idol's job extends far beyond just singing and dancing. In a group setting specifically, it's crucial to have someone who possesses charm for variety shows, someone who lifts up the mood, who makes funny jokes, who is just basically a mood maker. The content that we consume from idols isn't just limited to their music. And for some groups, the content beyond their music is more important than the music itself. This is including interviews, shows, vlogs, all of which consist only of showcasing their unique personalities. So the chemistry and charisma of a group outside of the stage is essential to us, the audience. And of course, this isn't to say that we should vote for dozens who makes us laugh, but rather that a diverse set of personalities add to the depth and complexity of a group. And I am not seeing any personality for me to be able to judge who would fit in the puzzle, who is going to be an essential part of a group, who we need to put in the group for the sake of chemistry and synergy. Secondly, we're talking about a Korean survival show. Even if they're only showing the performances, their dancing, and their skills, we know that Korean voters will vote for visually appealing contestants. So why can't contestants with very nice personality shine as well? And thirdly, and maybe the most important part, is that if we're truly voting for talent, why am I not seeing full performances without any edits or any reactions or without edited vocals? Wouldn't that be a better way to judge the trainees' skills? It is extremely important for us to see the raw and unfiltered performance, as it will give us a better sense of who actually have skills to succeed as an idol. I want to see a music bank style camera which is just fixed so I can see what's happening on stage. I want to see the full performance without the judges' faces or the girls' reactions. I want to see fan cams from the actual performance and not from the rehearsal. I want to see all of that so I can get an idea of who is actually talented and maybe understand what is the scoring that the judges are giving, for what reason they're giving those scores, because I'm going to be honest, I am not understanding why the judges would give the scores that they have been given. Which brings us to the performances of the night. The first performance was Attention. Overall, we had that High Team A won, and they delivered a very solid performance that showcased their skills beautifully. And although they won and they were overall a more cohesive group, I must say that Chanel, she stole the show for me. Her stage presence and overall performance were outstanding. It's just a shame that her outfit was hard to watch. Chanel and Mocha definitely deserve better in that regard, because what was those neon things? It was just so jarring and contrasting with the other team that it was kind of terrible. But it did make them shine a bit more, I guess, because you couldn't help but have your eyes drawn into them because of those neon pants. Oh my gosh, terrible. But moving on, in the behind the scenes, we had a lot of discourse and discussion surrounding the Attention's line distribution, which after watching the performance kind of felt useless, because not only was Chanel the one who I thought shined the most in the performance, but also everyone had their own time to shine, and the screen time was fairly balanced and not as significant as they portrayed it before. So that adds on to the first point I had in this video, because it didn't make much of a difference for me in the performance itself. And then it just kind of felt like they added that to create this unnecessary drama. But as a standout performers, as I said, Chanel completely stole the show for me, but Jungkook was absolutely phenomenal as well. Them placing in first in their respective groups was more than well deserved. I also want to give a special shout out to Yuna. While she may not have perfectly fit this concept, her star power cannot be denied. Her captivating presence always draws your eyes towards her. And I must say that Yimina and Mocha also did a commendable job and deserve recognition for their efforts. The second performance of the night was Given Taken. And I have a lot to say about this one. There were some few mistakes, but I found myself thoroughly enjoying this performance. What stood out for me the most, obviously, was the impeccable vocals, which can be attributed to none other than Jiwoo. Jiwoo, I have been seeing her since her very first performance and absolutely love her. And in a show where genuinely great vocalists are few and far between, Jiwoo truly shone with this performance. So please vote for her. This performance also made me understand why Jeemin was first place. Although I don't think she is the best trainee we have around, she totally was in her element here. And I love her expressions and just confidence and security she had on the stage. And let's not forget about Jihyun. She took me by surprise. Her stage presence was so good and such a flip from her vibrant energy doing Dala Dala. I really saw her versatility here, and her performance was so engaging and so good. Her getting a killing part was definitely very unexpected, but very, very deserved. The low team overall impressed me so much. Every member had captivated me in a certain way, and even though Enna, who is a 12-year-old girl, she fell short in terms of performance and expressions. She had like just a blank slate on her face throughout the entirety of the performance. I was super surprised with her vocals. Especially, she had one line which was the very high given taken, which is kind of like a falsetto thing, and she hit the notes. And she didn't seem unconfident about it, so I was very impressed by that. But her overall performance wasn't that memorable or that good, but the other three, amazing. So, from that kind of performance, it is very difficult for me to believe that High Team B just won. I mean, Youngsu did amazing and phenomenal, and her emotions throughout the stage were insane. But the vocals from the entire team were so inferior to their counterparts. Iris was a lackluster in both the charisma and technical skills departments, and even though Ruka and Iroha did a good job, I don't think that they were better than the 3 J's in the other team. So I cannot help but wonder if the judges gave Iroha extra points out of pity due to her accidents and tripping and falling, especially after seeing that she had the highest ranking from the given and taken performance. Like, she really surpassed both Jiwoo and Youngsu, which in my opinion were the best of the best and absolutely carried the performance. So even though Iroha handled falling like an absolute pro, I am most definitely raising eyebrows regarding the fairness of the judging process and just the overall capability of the judges to judge. It does feel like Hybe already knows who they want to debut, and they're not really above being biased or rigging. I mean, we can clearly see that in the next segment where the tiers of the girls change according to the scores given to them on the performances. The rankings really have been sticking out to me because I don't really get what's going on. I mean, sure, the 50-point benefit for the winning groups changed things up a bit, but even without that, some of these placements just don't make any sense to me. The biggest shocker to me, apart from Iroha being placed 3rd overall, only behind Chanel and Hyewon, that was a pretty big surprise. But apart from that, Wonhee's placements. Like, I hate to say it, but watching her perform just feels like watching a deer caught in headlights. The Fearless stage was easily the weakest out of the 3 performances, and Wonhee was in no way a highlight in that. But she still managed to rank higher than some of the other girls. That just left me scratching my head a bit, especially seeing her with a score so similar to Minju. Fearless was just a rediscovery of her. She was so captivating in it, despite having few lines. So them having similar scores was a bit weird. And not only that, but it's kind of mind-blowing to me that Wonhee's ranking was higher than Jimin, Moa, and Ruka. All who had a little bit of shine and had so much talent and skills. Jimin and Moa's performances were so impressive, and both of them were kind of highlights on their performances compared to all the girls that were performing. Both of them shined a lot, and they were able to show their talents in a very nice way. And even though Ruka was not a standout in Give and Taken, I cannot accept that with her incredible singing and dancing abilities, she ranked so low. And I have similar feelings about the elimination. Like, I was super surprised by the elimination of Yuisa. She may not have been the absolute best, but did she deserve to be eliminated? The first one in that? No way. She displayed very strong dancing skills, pretty stable vocals, and such a bright and vibrant look in attention that was not so bad. I think there were other contestants who delivered a lot less than her. So I was a bit confused on why she ranked last. Was she debut ready? No way. She did need to polish more of her skills and such. But I'm still kind of surprised that she was the first eliminated and the only eliminated until now. Plus the fact that we had to say goodbye to only one contestant was extremely cruel. I am so disappointed in the way that it was executed because she was just dismissed without a chance to hug the fellow contestants, without a chance of showing more of herself. They were just like, okay, get off the stage now. Excuse me? She couldn't even soak in the experience. It was just like, okay, you're eliminated. Out. You were booted. The door is that way. Leave. It just felt super wrong. In the third round, we got the girls being challenged to a high heel dancing battle, which is not only an extremely creative idea, but also a fantastic way to showcase the versatility and capabilities of these talented ladies. The song choices of the boys and Four Walls were spot on. The integration of the props such as canes, hats, and fans will add the extra element when we see it, but from what we saw from the previews of the choreographies, I think it's super fun and kind of nice. The group with the most low-ranking contestants, though, ended up with the song Dream of You. This is what we saw in the episode. And although I adore this song, it's one of my favorites by Chungha, I can't help but feel a bit uneasy seeing Hasu and Wonhee, who are the two minors in the group, trying to portray this sexy and sensual dance and sing those extremely mature lyrics. And then to make matters even worse, the group was even criticized for not being sexy enough. And worse than that, by a woman, okay? Which is just plain right weird for me. Why would you say that? They could reinterpret the song in another way. Even after the performance in the confessionals, one of the girls, I think Wonhee, she was like, we didn't portray the song the way the song with its original theme, which is just wild to me because you have two girls over there who are just minors. It's kind of giving me Wonyoung doing side to side in Produced 48. So not fun, not a fun time, no. Especially since they were singing and so it's kind of weird. Despite those mixed feelings, there were some standout performers in this round. Jimin truly shined. She really benefited from being in a less skilled group, which is a very good tactic and strategy if you're very talented. Her skills and stage presence were super evident, and this was my favorite performance from her by far. So I really like how she is improving and being able to show more of her, especially since I didn't think much of her in like the first place. I was like, why are you first again? And here she's showing me everything. She was a standout. She was the standard. Everything she did was so great, and she played with the camera really well. Her dance was really good. She kept my attention onto her every time she was on screen. So perfection. Ruka also surprised me with her very impressive dance skills and how she led the choreography. It seems like dancing is her forte, which I didn't know because in the first stage, when she sang the A-Pink song, I was really into her vocals and I thought she was a singer more than a dancer. But apparently she's a dancer more than a singer, which is very, very surprising to me, but I love it. I think she did very well in this performance too. And someone else who caught my eye was Funa. When she came onto stage, here and there, she was just catching my eye. I liked her presence. I liked her attitude. I think she was good to watch. But the performance itself felt a bit messy. There wasn't much synchronization. The girls were looking tired. And I agree with the judges on this one that the performance was lackluster and bordering bad. But yeah, that was all for today's recap of Are You Next third episode. Tell me what you guys are thinking of the series. I feel like it's very uninteresting, but I am cheering for some girls, specifically jiwoo. I'm cheering for her so much. I also really like Jihyun. She really surprised me here. And in her Dala Dala stage, I went back to see, and she was the one whose vocals I tolerated the best. So I liked her. I liked Yuna, Ruka, Mocha, Youngso, Jeemin, Minju. I like them all. And Chanel as well. So if any combination of these 6 make it, I am standing. But I want at least jiwoo in. Please, I really am in love with jiwoo. She really carried the Enhypen performance. And her voice is just so good. But yeah, that was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and goodbye. Have a great week.